And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, final show for the week, but we got a good one here presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out there at the website at the bottom of the screen, bangtail.com, and of course, easyliquor.com. And over there at our friends at Honky Tonk Texas, concert weekend coming up there at honkytonktexas.us. Of course, always you can find us powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com and at hightidecountry.net. Pleased to welcome in my favorite guest. I'll tell you that one of my favorite guests there. I can't say it all the time, but she is great out there. We got a great song out there to talk about today called Right Back, which is the latest single across all the digital platforms. One of my favorite guests here, because we have a bunch up here on the show, but she knows she's got her own reserved parking space. That's where I was going with that thought. Jenny Tolman back here on the broadcast. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
It's been busy, no doubt. Emails, conversations, phone calls. It never stops, does it?
Oh, no, but that's the way we like it. Nobody's calling. There's something wrong.
No doubt. Well, tell me what's been going on in your world. And I kind of want to start with a cool thing coming up because I feel like the fall-like weather has creeped in a little bit here in Texas, at least this week. Temperatures are not as hot, although they say it's going to go back to triple digits for a few days. But there's a pretty cool thing. Cowgirls, this is going to be 3 nights of music coming up here that I'm excited about at the Cowboy. This is all-female country music festival, October 6th through the 8th, and you've got some songwriter showcase and just a great lineup. Talk about this because putting this together is phenomenal, and the talent itself alone is tremendous.
Thank you. Yes, so this is a festival that I have gotten to curate, and I'll be hosting. This is our 2nd annual year, so we had our inaugural year last year.
Congrats.
Inaugural year is hard to say.
It is.
And it's out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming at the iconic $1 Million Cowboy Bar. So it's called Cowgirls at the Cowboy, all-female country music festival, and it's the first of its kind in the nation. 3 nights of music. So this year, we start out, the first night is kind of like a songwriter night. So we have Ashley Monroe, Dina Carter, and myself will be playing the first night. Second night is Tiger Lily Gold, full band, and I'll be playing full band as well. And then the last night for a headliner, we have Lauren Elena. So it is quite the lineup, which I'm super excited about. And I just announced today, so I don't know if you've even had a chance to see this yet, that I am doing a podcast in conjunction with the festival. We're doing a 4-episode series called The Road to Cowgirls at the Cowboy, where past and soon-to-be performers and ladies of the Cowgirls at the Cowboy Festival will be joining me and just chatting about the festival and what they've got going on and all that. So I'm excited about that too. Our first episode will air next Wednesday. Premiere next Wednesday.
I got a proposal for you. You send me, or have the powers that be send me a little episode of that, and we're going to put that on hightidecountry.net and a little bit of the website out there, the sportsguyspodcast.com, and of course just share it all over everything so different listeners get to hear that when the first
I appreciate that. Thank
you. No, that's just what I do here on the show. We just love to give back and promote this. Well, tell everybody, I guess, for the first time, especially people, I know a lot about your music and, of course, have a lot of playlists. We've been friends for a long time since we met when I started doing this in 2019. For the people that don't know, talk about just that love for music and growing up. You had a very special connection to this too, and a family was, I know, really involved too. And now with you being a mom too, I'm sure it's gonna happen to your son. He's gonna find the love of music somewhere in there too when he grows up. But the people that don't know your story, talk about that and just that love, and of course that dream, the move to Nashville, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in Nashville, believe it or not, and so my dad was a singer back in the 80s, and that's how, and still stayed here, and that's how I ended up being born here. He was put together into a vocal quartet called the Indian River Boys by Burt Reynolds. And they were out in LA for a bit and moved to Nashville and did some really cool stuff, sang on Garth Brooks's No Fences album, and just did a lot of fun stuff. But he ended up switching to the business side after a while because groups are just very hard to keep together. And my older sister had been born at that point, so he was like, okay, I gotta get serious here. So, but he still stayed in the music business, just kind of on the business side. So I just grew up around the music industry and really didn't even know that was a unique thing being from
Mm-hmm.
Nashville, it's Music City, so you have music all around you all the time, and with what my dad did, I was around songwriters and studios and the Opry and
Mm-hmm.
events and stuff like that, and I would walk up my bonus room stairs to a Garth Brooks platinum record that he had sang on, and I just didn't even have a concept of how cool that was at the time,
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, "Oh, it's my dad, whatever." And, and I still probably give him that eye roll if you ask him, but, I I always just knew that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be a singer. I've sang since before I can even remember. I started playing piano by ear when I was 3.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And really kind of the light bulb moment of songwriting, because that was something that never clicked in my brain until I got a little bit older. I was writing stories in middle school, and I thought, "Oh, maybe I'll be a children's author. Maybe I'll do something with storytelling." But when I got a guitar for my 16th birthday, and it was really when Taylor Swift was starting to
Mm-hmm.
blow up with, like, Tim McGraw and Teardrops on My Guitar, and I was like, "Wait a second. If I put everything that I love to do together, it's called being a singer-songwriter, and that's what country music is, and wait, I can
Mm-hmm.
do that." So it was kind of just this moment of, "Oh, that's what I'm gonna do." Like, duh, I always wanted to sing, but here's the vehicle for that, and
Mm-hmm.
so ever since then, that's been what I am and what I do.
And you've done it very well. You've put out a lot of great songs, and a lot of the songs we're going to get to over the broadcast today, the next 25 or 30 minutes. But I got a question from the audience I got to throw out there because one of our favorites, David, tunes in all the way across the pond from Cumbria in England over there, too. Always good
Ooh.
when you get a listener over there, too. And of course, that's the power of hightidecountry.net out there on internet radio. Jenny, watching from Cumbria in England, tell us a little bit about which artist inspired you to pick up the guitar. I know you mentioned Taylor Swift. How important is the guitar to you when you're writing and performing? I like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Guitar for me, I think I honestly wasn't somebody that craved playing the guitar, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. It was the gift of getting it for Christmas that went, or not Christmas, for my birthday,
Hmm.
that kind of knocked some sense into me of like, "Oh, this is a lot easier to transport than a piano," because I was playing piano mainly, and I can take this to writers' rounds, and this is what so many people, you can take this to a write, and so it just kind of naturally fell into place that I started writing a lot more, and now I really only write on guitar. I mean, I think I've maybe written 1 song on the piano in the last
Hmm.
year. I mean, which I probably should do some more on piano because it brings out a whole different
Hmm.
energy and vibe. But yeah, so the guitar has definitely become a very important piece of the puzzle with performing and writing.
You had done, before I take my first break, I got to get to this. You had done a tremendous job on an album. I think we had talked 2021. Now it hits me in my head with the
Yeah.
memory that came back because at that time, There Goes the Neighborhood had come out, the deluxe edition. So it's hard to believe it's been over a year and a
Yeah.
half since I chatted with you because I believe that came out in April of 2021, if memory stands correct,
Mhm.
for that album. So many great songs on there. We had talked about So Pretty. That's what kind of rang the bell there, too. It hit the old noggin. And then High Class White Trash
Mhm.
was also on that album. Talk about just how much, because that created a lot of buzz for you as well, putting out that big time album there. A lot of great songs in there. I got to listen to everything that was on there too. I believe there were 16 songs. A lot of highlights for your career. A lot of these songs really had gotten pushed to radio, and of course, really for me at least, set you apart in the female category.
Yeah, so There Goes the Neighborhood was a really special release for me. It was my debut album,
Hmm.
which the original before the deluxe came out in 2019,
Hmm.
July of 2019. And so we had about 6 months of amazing touring and press and all that good glory that you
Hmm.
get from your debut album before the world went crazy.
True. True.
And all of the touring got shut down. I mean, we had incredible shows like these big Country Thunder festivals that I was so looking forward to, and we were playing the main stages at all these places, and all the rug got taken out from under
Hmm.
us just like everybody else. And so really that was what prompted me to do that deluxe edition of the album, because after that 2020 year where we spent the whole year basically being like, okay, 2 more weeks and then we'll
True.
be back,
Yeah, we did.
and And so finally at the end of that year when it was like, okay, I don't know when we're going to be back. I don't think anybody knows what's going on. Like this is just weird. And I can't sit here and do nothing with this album. It's I just spent so much time and money
Mhm.
and bandwidth creating this project that I'm really proud of. But of course, in that time too, I have these other songs that I want to start releasing, but I don't want to abandon this other piece of work. And so that's really where the deluxe edition came from. And it was really fun to add one particular song on the deluxe edition has Jeannie Seely on it, called Fool Be Your Fool. Jeannie is just one of the greatest people I've ever met. I mean, she's so supportive of especially up and coming women. And I've never met anybody who is so excited for other people. Like I just am so inspired by that, and I aspire to be like that, just making people around you feel good and confident. And so having her sing on that album was so special to me.
Yeah, my other host on the show here, Kirsty Krause, who's an artist there in Nashville, she actually got to go to we did the Grand Ole Opry in back in March of this year. We were at CRS. And I said, well, what do you want to do tonight? We got through with the interviews, got out there. I was like, I was dying to get out, go have fun, go to a show, do something. So for the first time, she actually took in the Grand Ole Opry for me. And on the performance calendar was Jeannie Seely. And we got to see her sing at the Opry for the first time.
I think she's the most performed member of the Opry. I forget what it's somewhere in like the 5,000s, I think.
At least, I want to say it's 50 plus years of music out there that she's been doing too. We got another audience question. Already, this is going to get off to a good start. Jenny and I can talk about music all day long. That's what we do here on the Backstage Pass. We'll come back. Kelsey, you got a question there. We'll go ahead and put that in. We come back here, of course. It is the Sports Guys podcast.com, powered by that. The Backstage Pass, of course, all the best and brightest artists. You can find them right here. If you ever miss a show, go to that website. And, of course, also check us out at HighTideCountry.net, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, Honky Tonk Texas. More with Jenny Tolman. Of course, we got to talk about the latest single when we come back here in just a little bit. It's already creating a lot of buzz. It came out August 18th. Stay tuned. A word from Bangtail Whiskey coming right back. More with Jenny Tolman here on the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, Jenny Tolman joining us here, the Backstage Pass, again, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And, of course, tomorrow night, back to high school football on the website there and also at CajunCountryRadio.com. I never stop hardly. Maybe Labor Day weekend. I might take a little time off to chill with the family here. Again, back presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. I'm going to go to that audience question, too, because I know Kelsey wanted to ask this particular question. If you have anything, leave it in the comment box out there. We'll get to as many as we can. She said she got to meet you last year, and she had one of the There Goes the Neighborhood T-shirts. And favorite thing to cook. Okay. All right.
Ooh, you know what? I'm actually making a this doesn't sound good, but it is really good. And I'm not vegan, but it's vegan. It's a vegan mac and cheese made with cashew cream instead of cheese. I'm making that after we get off of here for a side dish for dinner, and that's one of my favorite things to make. It's so good.
She said,
but it's gluten-free pasta.
Gluten-free meals. She said, I saw a few of Jenny's gluten-free meals. I would love to try it. I don't knock anything before I try it. Maybe sometimes a couple of, but I would try anything because I'm not a cook. So anything Jenny cooks is fair game. If it's good for you, that's a good thing too. And of course, David, I'll get to that one here in a little bit. Favorite songs she enjoys singing. I'm sure there's a ton of them out there too. I do want to ask you about the single because I got to bring that up. Right Back came out in August 18th. So just over a week ago, almost 2 weeks as of tomorrow being September. I don't know where time has gone. this one reminded me a lot of, and we're talking about this before the show when we were catching up, this Leanne Womack 90s throwback feel of the instrumentation, your vocals, which are fantastic always, no matter what you sing, and the work that was done in the studio. Talk about this one and just how excited you were to put this single out to your fans.
Well, I love that you compared me to Leanne Womack because she is my favorite of all time. So I'll take that.
All right.
Yeah, this was really special because this was the first new music that I've put out since becoming a mom, since having a baby on New Year's Eve. So it's been a while. I mean, 8 months just about. And, getting to come back, especially with a title like Right Back, and say, say, here I am. I'm not anywhere. But, it's a funny story how this song came about because I wrote it with my husband, Dave Brainerd, and our good friend, Jeff Silbar out in LA. And Jeff is a co-writer on Wind Beneath My Wings, if you've ever heard of a little song called that. And we were out in LA because another Jeff Bridges, was singing one of my songs, My Welcome Mat, at Lebowski Fest.
Okay.
And I had never even seen The Big Lebowski. But I was like, if a movie star is singing my song, I definitely need to go to this Lebowski Fest. So I went to Lebowski Fest without ever seeing the movie. And you can imagine what a shock to the system that was. If you've seen the movie, have you? I don't know.
I think it's been a while, but there's certain pieces and parts of it that I remember. Yeah.
There's a particular smell that that isn't legal everywhere.
True. Yes.
and lots of costumes. It was so fun, and it was just really, really special to get to hear somebody of that stature sing your song and think so highly of it that they opened their own festival with it. So that was very cool. That was why I was out in LA. It was my first time to LA. And so we were staying with Jeff Silbar and just writing with him a bunch. I think we wrote 4 or 5 songs that weekend. And this was one of the ones that came out. And really, the storyline wasn't anything in particular. It was really the feel that we were going after. We really wanted something kind of like that Lay Down Sally feel. Because whenever I'm writing, I try to think of, okay, what is my live show missing? If I don't have something that I lyrically want to write, I try to think about the feel, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to fill in the peaks and valleys of the live show? And so Lay Down Sally felt like the right vibe. So that was kind of where this song stemmed from. And then, me, I just love sassy female characters. So
I do.
This one's no different.
Well, it's a great one there too. And definitely comparing you that, because you remind me of that new age, this female movement. That's where I was going with this, because you still see the greats like Leanne Womack kind of doing some projects out there. They never really kind of let it go and retire. You see a Jody Messina making this comeback with her and Cole Swindell. And you even see Patty Loveless and some Chris Stapleton stuff going on. So this is cool because I really feel like this collaboration of older artists paving the way now for you guys, the younger up and coming generation here. And you guys contribute to what they did back in their day, to know that they're Hall of Fame singers, Grand Ole Opry members. They've done a lot in their career. But you remind me so much of her. This female movement now that you're in here with Carly Pierce and Ashley McBride and the other ones like a Tiger Lily Gold. It's a great era and a great time to be a female country artist. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always felt empowered by being a female artist. I've never felt there's been like little things here and there, like comments that certain industry people would make that, you just brush it off. But I've always seen it as a pro. Because I mean, to me, there's less women because people expect more from women. So I take that as a compliment. It's like the guys get to get away with the bare minimum sometimes, but the ladies can't. And I like that, I like to be pushed to be the best, and to hone my craft enough that it stands out. And I take that as a compliment when, when there's, less females than men. It's because we're Obviously working hard.
Working hard, no doubt too. And it's these songs, it's how you write, it's the way you express yourself as an artist, how emotional these songs get, and how some of them, like you mentioned, sassy because they've got
Yeah.
attitude, which I love some of these. And one of these, I'm gonna go back to off the record. There goes the neighborhood. Was when I talked about high class white trash. Remind people a little bit of where this one came from in the backstory, because sassy, kind of upbeat, and there's a lot of that on that particular album, but that was one that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, so that album was based in an imaginary town called Jennyville. And Jenny was full of all these crazy characters running around. And I always say that high class white trash was kind of the basis of Jennyville,
Mm-hmm.
because you get introduced to a lot of those characters in this song. And I always say it's a very loving thing. And, it's real. It's not about your race. It's about a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I always self-deprecatingly say that I wear ginormous hoop earrings and fake rhinestones and fringe and all of that. So I fit right into
Mm-hmm.
that high class white trash category. And I say to my audience, I'm like, if you do too, I've got the perfect t-shirt for you after the show. We got high class white trash t-shirts.
Oh, I love that. That would be kind of
Jelly Roll's wife, Bunny,
Uh-huh.
if you're familiar with them, she's got high class white trash trucker hats that she just started selling.
Really?
So I was like, hey, we need to link up on this.
Figure out where she got those from, no doubt too.
Yeah.
I got a chance, even with how busy things get, but March of last year, you mentioned about putting out the single for the first time in 8 months, is becoming a mom, but Married in a Honky Tonk, I got a chance to stream a lot of that. And speaking of Jennyville, y'all let off with just that good morning Jennyville type feel.
Yes.
I loved it. And then I know some Cowboys was huge out there for you guys. Talk about just this album, this project, and in particular that particular song.
Yeah, well, Married in a Honky Tonk was my second album, and I put it out 2 weeks before I actually got married in real life. So I was crazy. I got married. I put out an album, got married, and had a baby all within the same year. So it was 2022 was quite the year for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I know some Cowboys was one of. I knew that was going to be on this album before the album even came together, because I had that song for a long time and been playing it out on tour, and that one always got the best reactions and got people dancing, which I love during live shows when people dance, because I didn't grow up with that. People don't really dance in Nashville. So going out to like Texas and, out west, where I love touring out west, because first of all, the people, the place, everything's beautiful out west, and you guys dance out west. So I love it.
Mm-hmm. It's a common theme. Well, here in the South too, and Southwest where I'm at, and then going west, it's that common theme to Arizona, to Montana, to Nevada, to California, all that good stuff over there. People just love to two-step, and your music really just, and the vibe that I get off of it too. And I've been out there too at a dance hall too before with my wife, and we've two-stepped on the floor to your songs, and it's like an easy go kind of feel that you get when it comes to your songs. And you've actually worked with some of the best writers out there. Your penmanship is fantastic, and I know I'm throwing all these compliments at you, but it's due to how much I've enjoyed you as an artist. And
keep them coming. It's fine.
Well, I'm going to keep them coming, because it's the truth. Ever since you and I met in 2019, somewhere in there, 2020, and I was doing audio shows at the time, I said, she's going to be a superstar. And I like to predict things here on the show. And I can see you making the Grand Ole Opry debut very soon if it hadn't happened already, or your phone's going to ring. So it's good.
That's something we're working really hard towards.
But these songs are fantastic too. Also from that same record, before I take a time out here, there was another one, which was the Mayor's Remarks, which actually had Jeannie on. So again, that whole just great tunes of collaborations coming together. How did this one kind of get started? You mentioned she's out to see younger artists, in that program out there too, to support them. But the Mayor's Remarks, I really enjoyed that tune.
Yeah, so I've always very lovingly referred to her as the mayor of Jennyville. And so I just asked her if she would be willing to come on and do this for this album, because I just love a bunch of having these little Easter eggs all throughout the album, to kind of connect dots, even from this album to the first album, There Goes the Neighborhood. I think that's really fun for all of the nerds like me out there, because you don't have to pay that close attention and to enjoy the record, but if you want to, there's all these little things that you can start connecting just for fun.
Well, and you had another one off of there too, and we'll talk about when we come back here. That was for me. They did it, and for a lot of friends out there, they loved it. One called "Working Woman's Blues." We're going to come back and talk about that one with Jenny Tolman. Here it is, the backstage pass, final timeout, and of course, rapid fire coming up here in a little bit. And Kirsty Krause did want me to tell you hello to, by the way, too.
Oh, yes, tell her hi.
On the team. She has been my co-host and host for a long time here, and now my
Awesome.
business partner here on the backstage pass. Of course, so you can check us out at hightidecountry.net. And powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. We're actually live on that very website right now, and on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, live out there too at the same time. We're everywhere you can find your podcast. So word from our friends at Bangtail Whiskey coming back, and the final word here with Jenny Tolman on the backstage pass final segment coming up. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, of course, coming up the next few weeks, some great guests. Heath Wright going to stop by from the group Ricochet. They just put out a brand new album August 18th, in fact, is when Jenny released the single, Right Back, which came out too. And, of course, a whole lot more over the next few weeks. Josh Turner coming by here on the show too as well. On the Backstage Pass. His greatest hits album comes out September the 8th. Always cool to get the legends and, of course, the rising stars such as Jenny Tolman here on the Backstage Pass. You can check us out, hightidecountry.net, and at the SportsGuysPodcast.com too as well. So I'm going to ask you about this one off of Married in Honky Tonk, because I really enjoyed this. A lot of friends enjoyed this, listening to it. You got a lot of great compliments. Working Woman's Blues, which is on that very album. How did this one originate? Where did this start from?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can hear that it's very Dolly inspired, very 9 to 5 inspired, production wise and lyrical wise.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I felt like we needed a good anthem for the working ladies on here, because and you know, it's this funny thing of it's the concept of trying to impress people, and when we're working so hard to impress everyone, and then you stop and you think about it and you're like, wait, do I even like these people that I'm trying to impress right now? Or, you know, because you're real friends, you don't have to try to impress. They're gonna love you no matter what. And so it's kind of like a funny song delivery with what I hope is a more enlightening message baked in there. And that's always what I'm trying to do with my, songwriting is deliver it with a little bit of comedy, a little bit of comedic relief, but also a little bit of, something to think about.
Yeah, and I call that too. It's like me. I go to one of my, and I told my wife I used this comparison the other day. If it doesn't make sense, and tell me I'm crazy. But I went to breakfast with her at a little place there's a place called First Watch down here. There's another one called Toasted Yolk, and Toasted Yolk is getting around almost the same type of flavor it was. So I played a song right back, and of course I put a couple things on there too as well with the sass. And I said, Jenny Tolman is the Cholula sauce, and she goes, "Oh, wait a minute." I said, she puts that little flavor of Cholula on there, or whatever hot sauce you want to choose, but she leaves you guessing and kind of wanting more. She's got that spice, she's got that flavor, and like I said, she's very diverse in her music. So Jenny Tolman is the Cholula sauce of her songs.
I am the Cholula sauce. I should be that for Halloween.
Because I got to order breakfast, and I was like, you know what, sir, do you have any Cholula sauce? And the waiter right over to the table.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. My husband loves hot sauce, so he'll like that.
Well, there you go. And like I said, I'll put that in the press release, no doubt, too, on all these songs, no doubt, too. Kelsey's blowing it up, Johnny. I'm going to get to that, too, as well. Yeah. Michael says, love the music, vocals, and songwriting of Jenny Tolman. No doubt about that. And, of course, I was going to talk about this song. Kelsey brings it up. A great song. Invent a T-shirt. Yes, the one that goes, I hate haters. I hate haters. I love lovers. I love lovers. As Kelsey was saying, let's talk about Invent a T-shirt. It was on my list to talk about, but I'll let you break that one down.
Yeah, so I put that one out in between the COVID and new album. So and it was a really fun one. This one is probably one of my favorite ones to do live, and that actually might be David's other question. I think he was asking if I had a favorite to sing. This is definitely one of my favorites to do live, because it is very quick delivery, kind of talk singing. It's really fun to do, and it's a really fun sing along for the audience as well. But yeah, this one's kind of like, I mean, the chorus says it all. I hate haters, I love lovers, and I don't really care about people who don't really care. It's kind of, it is what it is type of deal. And I wrote it after, during COVID, there was so much other crap going on, and just so much division and everything, and everybody thinking that they were right, and if you didn't think the same way, then you were an idiot, and all that, and and I was just sick of it. And so that song is kind of my answer to it. And there's one particular line in there which I think is funny. I mean, and it goes, they say truth is born out of disagreement. There's probably some things that we'll disagree with, and you certainly have the right to be wrong. So
Great line there, yes.
I mean, it's honestly just kind of poking fun at all the people who think that they're right all the time.
Well,
there were a lot of those going around.
And then a T-shirt. There you go. Hence the title of the song, and wear it out there too, to the best of your ability too. At the same time, I love it too, because you're telling just great stories for your music. That, again, Right Back is across all those digital platforms. So be sure and check out JennyTolman.com for more out there too. Because I cannot wait. I wish I was like a fly on the wall for that 3 nights of music. It's going to be Cowgirls Cowboy All-Female Country Music Festival coming up Friday to Sunday, October 6th to 8th, and it's going to be fantastic with Dina Carter, Ashley Monroe, Jenny herself, Tiger Lily Gold, and on Sunday, multi-platinum artist Lauren Elena. She's got 4 #1 singles in her own right, and if I was, like I said, in town for those dates, I would be attending that show and doing live coverage here through the broadcast here too. All right, time for a little rapid fire, because I got to do this. What's it been like? I know for me, I can answer this from my perspective, but what's it been like being a brand new mom for the last 8 months?
Amazing, tiring, overwhelming, best thing ever, hardest thing ever.
All those above.
Yes. Way harder than I ever expected.
Yeah, same here.
She's way better too.
Yeah, there's a joy. And your little man's name is
Bear.
Bear, really? Just like BEA? Okay, all right.
BEAR. Yep.
Isn't that cool?
It's funny. It was inspired by Bobby Bear.
Okay.
But Bobby spells it BARE, and I was like, I'm not naming myself naked. So I said, okay, if we do BEAR, it's a combination of Bobby Bear and Jackson Hole, which is where we got married, fell in love, got engaged. This is where the festival is. So Jackson Hole is a very special place in my heart, and bears are very reminiscent of Jackson Hole. So I was like, it's kind of a combination of 2 things that we love.
Well, I'll say this too, because mine is almost 3.5. That first 8 or 9 months, I wanted to pull what hair I had left, and now there's not much but gray hair now coming up.
My husband can relate.
It does, but now at 3 to 3.5, this is the fun time where it starts to kind of go. I'm creating sentences. I'm doing ABC Mouse. I'm building vocabulary. I've got a great school that I'm in. I'm learning rules, what to do, what not to do. Don't tear up the house. Don't. So there's so much going on inside her head, you can just imagine. And now the biggest problem is she wants to sleep with daddy and mama and not sleep in her own room. So that phase will come up too. I'm scared. Scared of what? I'm like, I get it. You got nightmares or whatever's going on too.
Yeah.
I love the comment Michael says, that's in the Constitution. You have the right to be wrong. Love it. So there you go. Back to
that's a Constitution girl.
All right. So you mentioned that dish you were cooking now too. So when it comes to, I'm going to build on the food thing, eating out, you guys, I guess, have the time to do that now. Or maybe get a date night, find a sitter, as hard as it is. Where do y'all like to go in Nashville? What are some of your favorite restaurants?
Oh, okay. Well, if it's like a quick, casual thing, we love Ginger Thai. Is probably our favorite Thai restaurant. And then if we're looking to get like dressed up nice, there's a place called, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but Tanzao. Okay. It's a Chinese-ish, but it's like very upscale, and Americanized, and they have gluten-free stuff, and I love it. It's so good. So I guess we really like Asian food. Thai and Chinese.
Nothing wrong with that too. I
Which
get my
makes sense.
craving.
My husband is half Korean, so we've got the Asian going in the family. My son's half a quarter Korean.
The quarter Korean. You got it down. You got some of at least the food that's good for you too, no doubt.
Yeah.
When it came to the first song Jenny Tolman ever sang live on stage, could be a cover. What was that tune Jenny sang on stage?
What was it? Okay. I would have to guess that it was my 4th grade talent show.
Okay.
And Wouldn't It Be Loverly?
Okay. All right.
The show tune.
The show. Yeah. I think for a second. I was like, yeah. Okay.
I've never thought about that, but I'm like, I think that might be it. I don't know.
I love it. Good stuff. It takes some thought sometimes. It does, no doubt. All right. Favorite cover song to perform?
Ooh, Think of a Reason Later by Leanne Womack.
See, there you go. See, my comparisons are pretty sharp on the show.
Yeah.
No doubt, which is they're two one of her favorite artists. I love everything you've done early in the career. Superstar in the making. She's singing stories, and these are made for people that love the two-step and just get all over the dance floor. And Right Back is across the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go over there, get the stream count up, and then of course, big event we mentioned there. Check Jenny's socials for more information. It's the huge coming up there. 3 nights of music, October 6th through 8th. Cowgirls at the Cowboy, Friday through Sunday with some great talent. Be sure and support all the great ladies of country music. You know you're always welcome back here in that parking spot here on the show. So come back anytime. Hope you enjoyed it, and it's always great to visit.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. One of the best, JennyTolman.com. And, of course, go stream Right Back across all the digital platforms out there. We're off tomorrow. Football. That's the reason. And, of course, back next week on a Tuesday, the voice, Peyton Aldrich, going to stop by here on the show. And, of course, next week, Heath Wright from the band Ricochet and a whole lot more here on the Backstage Pass powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. And, of course, our friends over at HighTideCountry.net, presented by Bangtail Whiskey. And, of course, Honky Tonk Texas, Michael, and of course Bob and everybody, David, who tuned in. Keep the comments coming. We'll get to some off there too as well. We'll see you guys next week here on the Backstage Pass. Until then, take care.